They mocked me, forcing me to sit by the trash at a family dinner. But when the $2,800 bill arrived, every smile vanished. I just said, let successful people pay for it. My name is Grace and I'm 26 years old. If you saw me at work, you'd probably think I was just another retail worker going through the motions. I work at a supermarket doing double duty as both a cashier and a stockroom clerk. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. Well, barely. I rent this tiny apartment that's basically the cheapest thing I could find that wasn't completely falling apart. The walls are thin, the heater makes weird noises, and I'm pretty sure the previous tenant had cats because sometimes it still smells like litter box. But, hey, it's mine. I know what people think about my job. Hell, I know what my own family thinks about it. They've made that crystal clear over the years. My older sister, Emma, graduated from college, got married to this guy named Mike, and they opened their own bakery together. Mom and Dad never shut up about how successful she is, how proud they are of her entrepreneurial spirit and her beautiful marriage. Meanwhile, I'm scanning barcodes and dealing with customers who yell at me because we're out of their favorite yogurt. The thing that really gets me is how my parents act like I chose this life just to spite them. Like I woke up one day and thought, you know what would be fun? Working retail for the rest of my life while my sister gets all the praise. They don't get that some of us don't have everything handed to us on a silver platter. About 2 years ago, I found out exactly what they really think about me. I had decided to surprise them with a visit, which was stupid in hindsight. I used my key to let myself in, and as I was walking toward the kitchen, I heard Mom on the phone. She was talking to Aunt Linda, and she didn't know I was there. Grace just can't seem to get her life together, Mom was saying. She's still working at that supermarket. It's embarrassing, Linda. I can barely bring myself to shop there anymore because what if someone I know sees her? What would I tell them? I just stood there in the hallway, listening to my own mother trash talk me to her sister. She kept going on about how I was stuck and going nowhere while Emma was thriving and making something of herself. I must have made some noise because Mom suddenly looked up and saw me standing there. She quickly hung up the phone. Grace, I didn't know you were coming by, she said, trying to act normal. I heard what you said, Mom. Oh, honey, you misunderstood. We're just worried about you. Your father and I want to see you moving forward in life. Like Emma and Mike. They're doing so well with the bakery. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to ask her why she thought it was okay to talk about me like that. Instead, I just nodded and made some excuse about having to leave. That was the moment I realized that no matter what I did, I'd never be good enough for them. After that, I started avoiding family gatherings. When I absolutely had to interact with them, I'd stick to our family group chat. Emma was always posting pictures of her latest cake creations or bread loaves in there, and Mom and Dad would go crazy with the compliments. So talented. We're so proud. You're amazing, sweetheart. I just put a thumbs up emoji and leave it at that. But here's the thing they don't know about me. About a year ago, something happened that changed everything. Mr. Johnson, the store manager, called me into his office on a Tuesday morning. I figured I was in trouble for something, but instead, he had this huge smile on his face. Grace, I've got some incredible news for you, he said. Corporate has decided to sponsor a few of our best employees for college education. They want to invest in people who show real dedication and strong work performance. I just stared at him. I'm sorry, what? You've been selected for a full scholarship to the community college, 2-year program, everything paid for. Your numbers are impressive, Grace. You're reliable. Your customer service scores are through the roof, and you've never missed a shift. I couldn't believe it. After all these years of my family acting like I was some kind of failure, someone actually noticed that I was good at something. So what do you say? Mr. Johnson asked. Yes, I said without hesitation. Absolutely. Yes. The best part? I decided not to tell anyone in my family. I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted to watch their faces when they realized that the daughter they'd written off had actually been working towards something all along. So for the past year, I've been juggling work and classes. It's been brutal, honestly. I'm usually up until midnight doing homework after getting off an 8-hour shift. But Mr. Johnson has been flexible with my schedule, and somehow I've been managing to pull decent grades. My parents keep asking why I've been so distant lately, why I don't come to family dinners as much. If they only knew I was spending those Sunday afternoons in the library working on research papers and studying for exams. While Emma posts her perfect cupcakes in our group chat and everyone fawns over them, I'm building something they can't even imagine. The hardest part isn't the workload though. It's listening to them constantly put me down while I'm working my ass off to prove them wrong. Last month at Emma's birthday party, Dad made this joke about how I'm permanently stuck in retail purgatory while everyone laughed. I just smiled and changed the subject, but inside I was thinking, just wait. You have no idea what's coming. I have 1 more year left in the program, and then I'll have my associate degree. After that, who knows? Maybe I'll transfer to a 4-year school. Maybe I'll get promoted at work. Maybe I'll do something completely different. The point is I'll have options that I don't have now. And when that day comes, when I walk across that graduation stage in my cap and gown, I'm going to post that picture everywhere. I'm going to make sure everyone knows that the failure of the family actually had a plan all along. So there I was living my double life, working at the supermarket during the day, going to classes in the evening, and pretending everything was normal when my family asked how things were going. I gotten pretty good at dodging their questions about why I seemed so tired all the time or why I couldn't make it to their random get-togethers. Then my phone rang on a Wednesday afternoon. It was Mom. "Grace, honey, I have exciting news," she said in that fake cheerful voice she uses when she wants something. "Your father and I are celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary in 2 weeks. We're having a party at Marcello's downtown." Marcello's, of course, the fancy Italian place where they take all their important friends to show off. "That's nice, Mom. Congratulations. You need to be there, Grace. It's important to us that the whole family is together for this." I wanted to say no. I had a huge exam coming up that week, and I really didn't feel like sitting through another evening of watching Emma get praised while I got ignored. But something in Mom's voice told me this wasn't really a request. "Okay, I'll be there." "Wonderful. It's Saturday night at 7. After she hung up, our family group chat immediately exploded with messages about the party. Emma was going on about how excited she was and asking about the dress code. Then she typed something that made my blood boil. "Grace, you should probably dress nicer than usual so you don't embarrass us in front of Mom and Dad's friends." Within seconds, both my parents and Mike had put laughing emojis under her message. Laughing emojis, like the idea of me embarrassing them was just hilarious. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to text back something nasty, but I didn't. Instead, I decided to do something I never do. I went shopping for a nice dress. Not super expensive because I'm still paying for textbooks and gas money, but something decent. Something that would show them I wasn't the slob they apparently thought I was. The week of the party, I was stressed about everything. I had 3 assignments due, a presentation to give in my business management class, and now this family thing hanging over my head, but I pushed through it all, turned in my work, and even managed to get my hair done Saturday afternoon. When the taxi dropped me off at Marcello's, I felt pretty good about how I looked. The dress fit well. My hair looked nice, and for once I felt like I belonged somewhere fancy. That feeling lasted about 30 seconds. I walked into the restaurant and saw my family right away. They were sitting at these big tables in the center of the dining room with all their friends and relatives. Uncle Tom and Aunt Linda were there, along with the neighbors from their street, some people from Dad's work, and a bunch of other faces I recognized from years of family events. I walked over to them expecting someone to wave me over to an empty chair. Instead, I just stood there awkwardly while everyone looked at me. "Hi, everyone," I said, looking around for somewhere to sit. That's when I noticed there were no empty chairs at any of their tables. Not one. "Mom, where am I supposed to sit?" My parents looked at each other with these weird smiles, like they were sharing some private joke. Then Emma spoke up, and I swear she wasn't even trying to hide how much she was enjoying this. "Oh, Grace, these tables are for successful people only." She pointed to this tiny table shoved in the corner near the kitchen. "We got you your own special table over there." I looked where she was pointing. The table was maybe 3 feet from the trash bins where the staff dumped dirty dishes. The door to the kitchen was propped open, and you could see straight into the area where they kept the garbage. It smelled like old food and cleaning chemicals. Everyone at the main tables was trying not to laugh, but I could see the smirks on their faces. These people had known me since I was a kid, and not one of them said anything about how messed up this was. That moment felt like everything crystallized for me. All those years of feeling like I didn't measure up, all those comments about my job and my life, all those times they made me feel like crap about myself, it all came together in this one perfect example of exactly what they thought of me. I could have screamed at them. I could have made a huge scene and told everyone what terrible people they were. I could have run out crying and given them even more reason to look down on me. Instead, I smiled. "Thanks for thinking of me," I said, and walked over to my little table by the garbage. I sat down, ordered a glass of wine, and watched them all whisper about me from across the room. They kept glancing over like they were waiting for me to have a breakdown or something, but I just sat there smiling and eating my food, planning exactly how I was going to handle this situation. About an hour into their celebration, Mom came over to my table. She had this fake concerned look on her face. "Grace, honey, we need to talk about your gift." "What about it?" I had given them a new microwave. It wasn't fancy, but it was practical and they'd mentioned theirs was broken. "Well, it's very thoughtful, but we all talked it over, and we think it's only fair that you cover the bill tonight. Since your gift was so modest compared to what everyone else brought." I looked at her for a second, still smiling. "You want me to pay for everyone's dinner? It would be the right thing to do, don't you think?" I poured myself another glass of wine and nodded. "We'll see how the evening goes, Mom." She looked confused, but went back to her table. I could see them all talking about me again, probably wondering what I was planning. The rest of the dinner felt like I was watching everything in slow motion. I sat at my little garbage table, eating my food and watching my family celebrate while occasionally shooting looks in my direction. They were probably wondering why I wasn't crying or storming out like they expected. Around 9 o'clock, people started getting ready to leave. That's when I called the waiter over. "Could I get my check, please?" "Of course, miss." A few minutes later, the same waiter walked over to my parents' table with the bill. I watched Mom point directly at me with this big smile on her face, like she was so pleased with herself. The waiter nodded and walked over to my table. "Excuse me, miss. Your mother said you'd be taking care of the entire bill tonight." He handed me the check, and I looked at the total. $2,800 for one dinner. These people had ordered the most expensive everything on the menu, plus multiple bottles of wine, appetizers, desserts, the works. I looked up at the waiter and smiled. "I'm going to pay for my meal only. As for the rest of this bill, the people who ordered all that food can pay for it themselves." The waiter looked confused. "But your mother said." My mother was wrong. I handed him my card. "This covers my dinner and my tip. For the rest of it, you'll need to go back to the people who actually ate the food." I stood up while he was processing my payment and walked over to where he was standing. "When you give them that bill, please tell them something for me. Tell them that successful people should pay for their own dinner." The waiter nodded, still looking confused, but clearly understanding that he was caught in some kind of family drama. I walked back to my table, grabbed my purse, and headed for the door. On my way out, I turned and waved at everyone. "Thanks for a lovely evening, everyone. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad." The last thing I saw before walking out was the waiter approaching their table with the bill. I could see the panic starting to spread across their faces as they realized what was happening. I called the taxi and stood outside waiting for it. My phone started ringing almost immediately. Mom first, then Dad, then Emma. I let every single call go to voicemail. The taxi pulled up and I got in. During the 20-minute ride, my phone didn't stop ringing. By the time I got to my apartment, I had 30 missed calls and just as many text messages. I scrolled through them while I got ready for bed. "Mom, Grace, come back right now. This is ridiculous." "Dad, you're being selfish and childish. Get back here." "Emma, I can't believe you're doing this to Mom and Dad on their anniversary." "Mike, this is really messed up, Grace." And on. More calls, more texts, all basically saying the same thing. "Come back and pay our bill. Be a good little doormat like always." I turned my phone to silent and went to sleep. Sunday morning, I was having coffee and actually feeling pretty good about myself when someone started pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding. I looked through the peephole and saw all three of them standing there. Mom, Dad, and Emma, and they looked pissed. I opened the door and they pushed past me into my apartment. "This place is still a dump," Emma said, looking around with disgust. "I can't believe you actually live like this." "What do you want?" I asked. Dad stepped forward. "We want you to explain yourself, young lady. What you did last night was completely unacceptable." "You embarrassed us in front of all our friends," Mom added. "People we've known for years saw you walk out on us. Do you have any idea how that looked?" "It looked like I refused to pay for dinner I didn't order," I said. "You owe us $2,800, Emma said. "Plus an apology, a big one. And if you don't make this right, we're done with you." That's when something inside me just snapped. I started laughing. Not a little chuckle, but full-on doubled over laughter. "What's so funny?" Mom demanded. "You are," I said, wiping tears from my eyes. "You're also incredibly stupid if you think I want anything to do with you people." They stared at me like I'd just spoken in a foreign language. "You've spent years making me feel like garbage," I continued. "You put me at a table next to the trash and expected me to be grateful. You tried to stick me with your bill because you think I'm so desperate for your approval that I'll pay anything to keep you happy. Well, guess what? I'm done." "Grace, you don't mean that," Mom said. "I absolutely mean it. I don't want to see any of you again, ever. Get out of my apartment." "You can't be serious," Dad said. "Try me." I walked through the door and held it open. For a moment, they just stood there like they couldn't believe what was happening. Then one by one, they filed out. "You'll regret this," Emma said as she walked past me. "I doubt it," I replied and slammed the door behind them. The first thing I did was block all their phone numbers. Then I left our family group chat and blocked that too. For the next few months, it was blissfully quiet. No guilt trips, no comparisons to Emma, no snide comments about my job or my life. About 3 months later, my aunt Linda came into the supermarket while I was working the register. "Your parents are telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown," she said while I was scanning her groceries. "Are they? They're saying you're being completely unreasonable and that they're worried about your mental health." I handed her the receipt. Thanks for letting me know. Have a good day, Aunt Linda. She looked like she wanted to say more, but I was already helping the next customer. Honestly, I didn't care what they were telling people. For the first time in years, I was free. A whole year passed without hearing from them. It was honestly the best year of my life. No family drama, no constant criticism, no being compared to perfect Emma and her perfect bakery. I focused on my classes, worked my shifts, and for the first time ever, I felt like I could actually breathe. Then graduation day arrived. I walked across that stage in my cap and gown, shook hands with the dean and got my associate degree in business management. 2 years of juggling work and school, staying up late studying, missing social events to write papers, and I'd actually done it. I had a college degree. After the ceremony, I asked one of the other graduates to take a picture of me holding my diploma. I was grinning like an idiot in that photo, but I didn't care. I'd earned the right to look that happy. That night, I posted the picture on all my social media accounts with the caption, 2 years of hard work paid off. Associate degree in business management, graduated with honors. I went to bed feeling proud of myself for the first time in years. The next morning, I woke up to find that Mom had not only liked the photo, but commented on it too. "We are so proud of you, sweetheart. Always knew you could do it." I stared at that comment for a long time. Always knew I could do it? Really? Because I distinctly remembered her telling Aunt Linda that I was going nowhere in life, but I didn't respond. I wasn't ready to open that door again. About a week after graduation, Mr. Johnson called me into his office again. "Grace, I've got some great news. Corporate wants to offer you a promotion to assistant manager. It comes with a significant pay raise and better hours. You'd be working more with scheduling, inventory management, and staff training. What do you think?" "I think that sounds amazing," I said. The new position meant I was working normal business hours instead of nights and weekends. The pay increase was enough that I could finally move out of my crappy apartment and into a decent one-bedroom place across town. For the first time in my adult life, I had enough money left over after paying bills to actually do things I enjoyed. I took a vacation. Just a long weekend trip to the coast, but it felt like such a luxury. I posted pictures of myself on the beach at nice restaurants, just enjoying life. Again, my family started liking and commenting on everything. Emma wrote, "Living your best life" under one photo. Dad commented, "So happy to see you doing well" on another. It was weird how they suddenly wanted to be part of my success after years of acting like I was an embarrassment. 6 months after my promotion, I heard through the grocery store gossip network that Emma's bakery had closed down. Apparently, a big chain coffee shop had opened right next door and it offered pastries and coffee at half the price. Emma couldn't compete, and they'd had to shut down after losing most of their customers. I'd be lying if I said I felt bad about it. After years of listening to my parents brag about how successful she was, there was definitely some satisfaction in knowing that her perfect little business had failed. Things were going really well for me. I was good at my new job. I had a nice apartment, and I was even starting to date someone I'd met through work. Life felt stable and happy for the first time in years. Then about 2 weeks ago, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Grace, it's Mom." I almost hung up immediately, but something made me stay on the line. "How did you get this number?" "I got a new phone." "Grace, please don't hang up. I need to talk to you. I don't have anything to say to you." "We were wrong," she said quickly. "Your father and I, we were completely wrong about everything. We were stupid and cruel, and we're sorry." I didn't say anything. "We saw your graduation photos and your new apartment, and we realized how much we'd missed. We realized how badly we treated you, and we want to make it right." "Make it right," I repeated. "We want you to come to dinner, just the 4 of us. No friends, no big production. We want to apologize properly and try to rebuild our relationship with you." I thought about it for a minute. Part of me was curious about what they had to say. Part of me wondered if they'd actually learned anything from the past year. But mostly, I just felt tired at the thought of going through all that drama again. "I'm not interested, Mom. Please, Grace, we miss you. We know we messed up, but we're family." "You didn't act like family when you put me at a table next to the garbage," I said. "You didn't act like family when you tried to make me pay for everyone else's dinner. You didn't act like family when you spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough. We know, and we're sorry. We want to do better. Maybe someday," I said, "but not now. I'm not ready to forgive you yet, and I don't know if I ever will be." "Grace, I have to go, Mom. Don't call this number again." I hung up and blocked the new number too. The truth is, I'm doing fine without them. Better than fine, actually. I make decent money. I have my own place. I'm seeing someone who treats me well, and I'm thinking about maybe going back to school for my bachelor's degree. For the first time in my life, I'm making decisions based on what I want, not on what will make my family proud or what will avoid their criticism. Do I miss having a family? Sometimes, but I don't miss the constant put-downs, the comparisons, or the feeling like I was never good enough. I don't miss being treated like the family disappointment. My life is mine now. I get to decide who's in it and who isn't. And right now, the people who spent years making me feel worthless don't get to be part of my success story just because they've suddenly decided they want to be proud of me. Maybe someday I'll be ready to hear what they have to say. Maybe someday I'll be willing to give them another chance. But that day isn't today, and it might never come. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm finally okay with putting myself first for once.